our annual Metro Division predictions. We'll go from 8-1. Last year wasn't
Oof.
quite what folks expected. So it'll be interesting to see what our predictions are now and looking back at the end of the season, just how on point or off we were. I also got Kat to share her insight as well. So I'll read a little bit of what she said because she's not here. I'll volunteer her first to go and we'll work off of that. So from 8-1, Metro Division predictions for the season. For Kat, she has the Philadelphia Flyers at 8. Her little rationale: turnover and coaches feel like the team just can't get any consistency going. I'll go now. I have the Islanders at 8. They won the lotto. I think they'll be right back there. There's just not enough for me to see the Islanders doing anything to be anywhere close to dangerous this season. Zach, who's your bottom of the barrel team in the Metro?
Oh, wow. I think we're all going differently at number 8. I'm going the Pittsburgh Penguins at number 8. They seem like the only sellers going into free agency, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, they really did nothing special to get better. Like, their talks of still trying to get rid of Carlson's contract. Yeah, you might have brought in a couple guys in. Yeah, you got Sivos. Yeah, Archer Sivos from Vancouver is one of your goalies. But can the defense figure it out? Yeah, you still got Letang. Where else are you really there for with that forward core? I'm still not really sure where you look at the forwards. It's for me, it's a tough spot to look at when you're looking at a team that's outside of what Rickard Rakell, Crosby, Rust, Malkin. It's just not a forward core that screams anything good. Letang. It's just for me. I think the Penguins are number 8 team. I just don't think they got any better. I think they're just kind of figuring it out still. Like, they're the only seller. I just don't think they did enough in the offseason to kind of warrant. I think other teams in the division at least tried to get better.
So I'm very close with you on that. For 7, I'll jump ahead of Kat on this one. I have the Penguins at 7 for some of those same reasons. I think Sid is staying at least this year for Malkin's final run. But I think he probably gets shipped off next season. I think that's when they become true sellers because I don't see their GM not getting anything for Sid and just walking. Like, at some point, they were truly hit the go button on the full rebuild from the ground up. But just because you can never count Sid out, even though there's not much around him, I think he'll do a little bit more for them than being completely in last place. I think Sidney Crosby is too competitive for the Pittsburgh Penguins to do that, and I don't think they fully sell until this offseason. At number 7 for Kat, she has the Islanders. So it seems like we're on the same page-ish for these bottom teams. For Kat, she said, have they done anything different? Feel like they're just on cruise control in the slow lane.
I mean, she's not wrong because I also have the Islanders at number 7 because, you do have Bo Horvat. Is Matthew Barzal going to take the next step that you need? Is Anders Lee going to be okay? Is Jonathan Drouin finally going to figure out with another team? Because I feel like he's been with almost everyone at this point. Do you got Duclair on the bottom line? How is Triplikov going to be? That's kind of the big question on your defense. Can Adam Pelech and Ryan Pollock do something for you? How Matthew Schaefer going to be? I mean, he looks fast, but it's going to be a very interesting season with him where they're kind of going to rely on him a lot. It's just goaltending. Yeah, you do have Sorokin, but how is David Rittich going to do? And you have Varlamov on the IR, so it's just. I just don't think the Islanders really took that next step. Yeah, you got the number 1 pick. He's probably going to be in your lineup, but do you have the scoring that's necessary? I just think that the Islanders kind of, like Kat said, cruised, and maybe some teams were kind of passing them in the fast lane a little bit to kind of move up. But yeah, I think if you're looking at Pittsburgh and the Islanders at 8-7, you could potentially flip those guys too. I just feel like they didn't really do a whole lot to be like all right, we're making moves. I just don't see that with these guys.
It does worry me too, because both of them are going to be in the tank for McKenna conversation, and I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
hoping neither of them win the lotto
Yeah.
for that reason, because dealing
Yeah.
with a guy like that for potentially most of his career, if he lives up to the expectations, that would not be great. So maybe West
Yeah.
Coast, maybe Atlantic or something. But we'll see what happens. Those two will definitely be at the top of the draft lotto next
Mhm.
season. On to 6. This is where Kat has Pittsburgh. She said
Okay.
Crosby can only do so much. The core is aging out, and I don't see their plans for the future quite yet. Which, again, for everything we talked about, whether it's they let Sid Malkin ride it out and then they figure it out, it's this weird in between where they are sellers, but how much are they selling? For me at 6, I finally slide this team in. I have the Flyers at 6, because for me, I think Michkov has the potential to take off and be on that path to superstardom. And they do have other
Mhm.
talent on that team as well, but I need to see them come together as a unit. Um, I think they're good, but they aren't a team, if that makes sense. The individual players are. And then the question, too, what do they look like under the new head coach? Got to see what that looks like, and see if that actually clicks or not. Are they underperforming a little bit like they did under his leadership in Vancouver? I'm scared to say his name because I know I'm going to botch it, but
Oh, Rick Tocchet.
Talk. That's how you say it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
see what it looks like under Talk for the Flyers. Zach, 6 for you.
I was definitely kind of flip flopping between a couple teams here at 6 because it's like, have certain teams kind of taking the next step. Are they kind of taking are they falling back a little bit too? Because for me, it's like, I think there's like 2 or 3 teams. Like, for me, it's like, where do I go here? And I kind of feel like I'm probably going to go Philadelphia as well, just because of, you do have Zegras, you do have Mitch Coffey, you do have Tippett as your possible top line. That's not bad to have. You know, how's your second line going to be with, Couturier and Konechny? Bottom 6, I think it's a lot of, there's a lot of good guys are on the uptick, but it's like, are they really there yet? Defense, Cam York, Sanheim, Sealer, Drysdale, is that going to be enough? Goaltending was an issue last year for the Flyers. I still think it is. Even, you do add Dan Vladar from he was with the Flames. You bring him in. How is he going to do? How's Sam Erikson going to be? That's kind of the main question as well. So I think the goaltending is probably what's going to be the Achilles heel of the Flyers. And can that defense kind of stack up for them? And how's their offense going to be? So I think right now for like 4, 5, and 6, I think this is where it's going to be kind of like, where are we kind of looking here with these teams? So I would say if I have to pick someone at 6, it's going to be with the Flyers, but I can see between them and 5, there could be a switch off here.
Wow. I think Kat and I are a little aligned, and we're more in the 6, 7, 8 for the Flyers, Penguins, and Islanders. Again, I think for me at least, I think there's a little bit too much talent for the Flyers to be in that McKenna top of the lotto conversation. But we'll see kind of where they end up. Moving on to number 5. Kat's number 5 team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Her rationale on this: young and ready to continuously be better after last season. Maybe could do a wild card, but don't think they're quite there yet. For me, number 5, last year's perennial favorite that did not meet expectations, New York Rangers. And for me, just commit to the tank. Like, just commit to the tank already. Like, they're in this weird in between. They're shipping off some older guys, but they still have some, and some contracts are still up. Like, just commit to the tank already. Like,
Yeah.
we're going downhill, and we're going downhill fast. Like, get what you can for you guys. Igor's contract, quite frankly, is looking brutal for the fact of, like, it doesn't matter how good your team is. Like, if you don't have a good team in front of them, they're not going to be good.
Yeah.
And that's what happened last year. So you have all this money tied up in goaltending to not even have a team in front of him to compete the way you should, to have someone like that in net. So that's why I have the Rangers at 5. Zach, where are we going for 5 for you?
Also going Rangers at 5, like you said, Rich. I mean, you have a good tandem. You got Shesterkin, you got Quick. Past that, defense. Yeah, you got Vlasov, Gavrikov. I would love to have him on the Hurricanes, but they picked him up instead. Can this team figure it out? Because it seemed like everyone had a down year last year, and can they figure it out? But Carson Soucy, Will Borgen, Vakakainen, Brandon Schneider, can those guys kind of step up on your defense? You look at the bottom 6, Taylor Radish, Sam Carrick. The bottom 6 doesn't scream this team is deep. This team is we might hopefully figure something out with these bottom 6 guys, but are you really relying on Matt Rempe on your 4th line with Adam Edstrom? I'm not sure. I feel like they're going to have to rely heavily on this top 6. Coyle, Miller, Zibanejad. Kid Zibanejad figured out from last year because he had a down year and there was possible trade talks with him. Can Artemi Panarin in the last year of his contract with the Rangers kind of set himself up for a next contract? Can Lafreniere make that next step? What are they going to do with Vincent Trocheck too? Those are kind of the big questions. And I think for me, it's a tough spot when you look at the Rangers and it's like your defense is meh and your bottom 6 is, okay. So I feel like it's almost like you're going to have to rely heavily on your top 6 to carry the load. And with the age of these guys, outside of, Lafreniere, I'm not seeing the Rangers kind of moving forward. I feel like that they kind of stayed somewhat parallel. Like they kind of made a sideways move. Could they surprise people? Possibly, but I don't see it right now. I could be wrong, but I just don't see I don't think the Rangers did enough.
Yeah, Kat feels that way about the Rangers at 4. She says, I wish I could count them out more. I don't think they'll be like the previous seasons yet. Just new faces. I can't read right now just yet, but some new faces might help them more than last season at least. So she's a little more optimistic about them. I think she's probably just scarred from the past couple of seasons, just them being around, whether it's the round 2 elimination a few seasons ago. I would imagine that's probably why she had them there and not fully counting them out.
Yeah.
I didn't ask her to do wild card or not, so I don't know if they'd be in the wild card. In this scenario, for me, my number 4 team, I do have them as a wild card team. I have the Washington Capitals at 4.
Oh, okay.
Because yes, they still have a really good blue line, but they overachieved last year. It's simply because of the goal record, in my mind. Again, think they're good enough to still be a wild card team. I don't see any way to compete for the division this year. I think they hit their peak from the Great Chase and getting Ovi to that goal record. They had something to play for. They do not have something to play for this season. They take a step back. They still can make the wild card. I just don't see them performing like how they did last year.
Me and you're on the same page, Rich. I get them as a wild card in the number 4 spot. It's just the thing is, like you see them, they're trying to go for the youth movement, and can that benefit them? You got Ryan Leonard on that second line now. Can Alexei Protas take that next step after a year I don't think anyone saw coming out of him? Can PLD kind of take that next step as well? What's Connor McMichael going to do? Is Alexander Ovechkin going to be pushing as hard as he did last year for the Chase? Who knows? I mean, you got Duhaime, you got Sordiff on that 4th line. Yeah, the blue line's probably what is going to be their big thing for them. It's just, are they going to find the scoring? And can you get the goaltending of Thompson and Lindgren to kind of repeat again? I think the youth movement's kind of what's kind of helping Washington maybe a little bit. I don't think they're going to have a complete fall off where they're not going to make it, but I just don't see them being a automatic top 3 team in the division. But I do have them 4 in a wild card spot, though.
Yep, Cat has them a little bit higher at 3. From Cat, Ovi will definitely have a slower year, but they have a good goalie tandem and young players that have a taste for success again. So Cat has them being a little bit more motivated and still having something to played for, which in a way, what I said about Washington would then diminish my number 3 team in a way. But I have the Blue Jackets at 3. I know they had something to play for last year as well, but I have bought all of these stock in Adam Fantilli.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has the potential to be on that Celebrini Bedard level where he's talked about like that. I think being in Columbus, he's a little bit overlooked. I think he has the potential to be that good. He becomes an absolute wagon for this team. Yeah, they just, again, what they were able to do last year with everything considered.
Yeah.
They still have some good dudes on the team. I'm blinded by Adam Fantilli, but I will ride that wave into the Columbus Blue Jackets making the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Me and you're on the same page as always, Rich, for a reason. I do have Columbus as the number 3 team. I wanted to make the playoffs last year. I think they really overachieved too with all the stuff they went on. And not saying overachieving is a bad thing. It's like I think they had a lot to play for. And I think with building on that success, you look at this team. You got, Voronkov, Marchenko with Sean Monahan. Monahan has been kind of like one of the biggest guys for the Jackets they definitely needed last year. If Boone Jenner could stay healthy for the whole year, you got him with Fantilli and Kent Johnson. My goodness, that second line could surprise a lot of people. You bring in Charlie Coyle, a very underrated guy, put him with Cole Sillinger and Matthew Olivier. Olivier is probably one of the toughest customers in the league right now. Like, he is not afraid of anyone. Chinikov, Lundstrom, and you also pick up Miles Wood. They picked up some veterans who can do something in that bottom 6. Like, I almost feel like the Jackets are kind of a sneaky team that does have 4 lines that they could roll this season. And look at the defense. You got Zach Werenski, who honestly I believe should have won the Norris last year. I know because they won with points and stuff like that. They gave it to Cal, but for what Zach Werenski did, his first full season healthy and how he was just like nails for the Jackets, I think he should have won it last year. But if he can continue off of that, I think Werenski is really going to put himself into more Norris conversations. You bring back Fabro, you got Provorov and Severson. Denton Mateychuk should be one of those guys that everyone should be watching out for in terms of possible Calder stuff. Eric and Branson, a very solid defenseman. You can Elvis Merzlikins kind of figure out this year for them as well. Kind of had an up and down season, but Jet Greaves looks like to be that dude, hopefully for the Jackets, and kind of be that. So I think goaltending still might be a little shaky, but when you look at where their defense is right now, where it's like it's a good defense, I think it's a very underrated defense, and how they've built their forward core to potentially be a sneaky 4 lines to roll through. I think if they build off of last season, all the momentum with the Stadium Series game, fighting to like the last couple of games of the regular season to make the playoffs, you add some veteran depth. You have a lot of these guys taking the next step. I think the Jackets will be a team that could surprise a lot of people and snag a playoff spot. So I got the Jackets at number 3.
So you and I have been aligned for a lot of this, Zach. I think Kat has jumped on our wagon as well for 2 and 1. At number 2, Kat has the New Jersey Devils. Young team, and once Jack Hughes is back, which he is, they have potential, which goes to my point a little bit too. Luke Hughes drama is over. Jack Hughes is healthy. I think they have good pieces. Markstrom, when he gets hot, I mean, look at that 2 overtime game.
Yeah.
Like the one that the Canes won. It's like, this would have been over so long ago if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have talent, but they're not more talented than the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's why I have the Devils slotted in at 2.
Yeah, I think for me, the reason why I have New Jersey number 2 is, can they stay healthy? Because they got hit with they finished 3rd last year, but the rest of the division was kind of not the greatest. I think that's why they got into the number 3 spot. I think if the Jackets didn't hit a rough patch, I think they probably was surprised a lot of people. But for New Jersey, if they can stay healthy, I think this is a team that could finish 2nd. Could they push for 1st? Maybe. But it's all about, can Jack Hughes can stay healthy? Can Luke Hughes stay healthy? Can, Dougie Hamilton, Siegenthaler, Dillon, all these guys, Nemec. These are kind of the big questions for them. And can the goaltending are they going to ride Markstrom the whole way? Can he figure it out? What's going to happen with possibly, how's Jake Allen going to be as your backup. And then you look at the forward core. Yeah, you kind of added Connor Brown. He kind of surprised a lot of people a little bit, but how's he going to do with Glass? What are you going to do with Palat? Stefan Nason, currently they haven't listed him out. Do you put him on the fourth line with a Paul Cotter? Gritchick, how's he go with there? Can Meyer finally figure it out? Because ever since he went over to New Jersey from the trade with the Sharks, he's been kind of okay, but is he that guy that they kind of traded for? Can Dawson Mercer step up? Can Jesper Brock continue what he did last year? Like I said, can Hughes stay healthy? Evgeny Dadonov as your first line left wing, I'm really kind of curious to see what New Jersey's looking at for that, because Evgeny Dadonov has never been a first line guy for a lot of these teams. I'm kind of curious of where that's the possible scenario. Maybe it could change, maybe throw Meyer there, but I think New Jersey, I think they're going to push the Hurricanes for the number one spot. I think these two teams will probably come down to like within, I would say 3 points max separating these two teams. It is going to be a two-man dogfight for the top of the division. So could I see them flip-flopping? Possibly. But for me, it's can New Jersey stay healthy to take the number one spot? If they can't, I think they're two. If they're fully healthy, I still think it's going to come within 3 points of the division. But I do have New Jersey at number two.
Which means we all have the Carolina Hurricanes.
Jeez. Are we biased?
One. Cat's reasoning on this, some new players, but overall the team has had time to gel after the major overhaul during the previous offseason, which makes sense because I think that's part of the reason why last year went the way it did a little, because you had so many guys having to adjust and learn Rod's system. But for the most part, even Stank was in it for a little bit. So maybe just need the Keishan to get on board a little more, Keandre Miller. But once those guys get it, that's going to be disgusting. For me, the Metro Division in 2025-26 is the Carolina Hurricanes to lose. This is a team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals on a down year. They got younger.
On a transition year.
Yeah. This offseason, they got younger. They got faster. They got better on both sides of the puck. They've got better goal scorers. They are a cup contender this season. Now, don't be disappointed if they don't win the cup, because like I mentioned, Miller, Nikishin, Ehlers, maybe Stink a little if he does end up at 2C. They need time to gel. Good news, those guys are here for a very long time, so they should contend for the cup this season. I think next year they should be even stronger favorites for the cup. But nonetheless, the expectation is on this Canes team this year. They're going to win the Stanley Cup. Not that they are. That's not my prediction. I'm saying that is their goal, to chase the Stanley Cup this season. That's the goal. I think that drives them. I think they're in the position to make it happen based on everything that this team has done this offseason.
Yeah. As of right now, from what I've seen, a lot of places are predicting the Hurricanes at 106 points for the season. And like you said, Rich, you look at this team, you bring in Ehlers, you're talking about this team needs a top 6 scoring winger. They got the guy in Fly to do it. If he could stay healthy, even last year, he was still I think 3 or 4 points shy of a point per game guy. I think it was like 62 points or 64 points in 69 games. Like, that's pretty close for a guy who lost some time. If he can stay healthy and put him in that line with Aho Jarvis, my absolute goodness, that's a disgusting top line. A second line of Andrei Svechnikov, Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake. My goodness, that is youth, that is speed, that is a power forward you're also going to have on your left wing. Jackson Blake was a little bit hesitant, but I think if he fully unlocks what he can be and be a little bit more comfortable, I think he's going to pop off. If Logan Stankoven can do what he can do at the 2C, I think you're going to be solid there. The Jordos with William Carey, that is going to be, we're going to hit everything, and hopefully, who do you want to get hit by less, because they're all going to hit you. Hall, Kotkaniemi, Robinson, that is a speed on the right with Robinson. You got the defensive prowess of Kotkaniemi, what he can do when faceoffs. If he can add a little bit more physicality to his game, use his full body, I think he'll be fine. Taylor Hall, playmaking, scoring, I think that does help too. That is a very deep roster of those guys, and you're even talking about what your potential depth is. Slavin Walker, we saw that in the playoffs last year. I think it's a great pairing. Miller Chatfield, Okay, you're looking pretty good there because what a way to learn from someone like Jalen Chatfield if you're Keandre Miller, because you got a guy, because both these guys are fast, they both can back check, they both can score goals. So I think that's a great guy to learn from if you're Miller. Where you got Chatty on your right, and then Nikisha Gostisberg, yeah, Rod will make sure these guys are kind of sheltered a little bit just because it's more offense more than anything else. But I think that there's someone to learn from in terms of the system. I think Ghost is a good one to do it for. And I think he's the more inclined guy to go on his offside. Goaltending, we talked about it. If Freddie and Piotr can stay healthy the whole year, I think that puts the Canes in a great spot. And if you look at this roster, I feel like the Hurricanes took a roster that went from a transitional going into at least winning an Eastern Conference final game, and then you get better on top of that, and a lot of these guys are locked in. And you look at the depth that's waiting in the wings in the American League. Like you said, Rich, it's the Hurricanes division to lose. And it would have to be like it's the only team that has a shot at New Jersey if they stay healthy. And if there's maybe one or two guys that might get hurt, which not going to win, nothing happens. But this is Carolina's division to squander. But I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be putting themselves in a good spot where they're like, we were good last year. We surprised a lot of people. Now we're going to put the foot on the gas and go and take this one home. Take the division, go for another deep playoff run for the 8th straight year.
It's crazy that it all starts this month.
We are. I think if this comes out Thursday, we're officially a week away from the start of the regular season.
Unreal. Hockey is just about back. We'll be back with you guys next week to preview opening night, a few other games as well coming up.
Before we go, Rich, let's remind everyone where are we at in terms of our predictions of the 8-1 for everyone.
Yeah, great talk, Zach. My brain is mush. Taking care of Kat. Love to take care of her though. So running it back, 2025-26 Metro Division predictions. Kat, we'll work our way from 1 to 8. Why not?
Yeah.
Number 1, Carolina Hurricanes. Number 2, New Jersey Devils. Number 3, Washington Capitals. Number 4, New York Rangers. 5, Columbus Blue Jackets. 6, Pittsburgh Penguins. 7, New York Islanders. 8, Philadelphia Flyers. For yours truly, number 1, Carolina Hurricanes. 2, Devils. 3, Blue Jackets. 4, Capitals. 5, Rangers. 6, Flyers. 7, Penguins. 8, Islanders. Zach, I wrote yours down. I'm 99% I got this right, but correct me if I'm wrong. For Zach, 1, Canes. 2, Devils. 3, Blue Jackets. 4, Capitals. 5, Rangers. 6, Flyers. 7, Islanders. 8, Penguins.
Perfectly set, sir, and Washington gets the wild card for me on that one.
There we go. We're lined at the top. Middle's a little different. Bottom, we're kind of in agreement on those 3 teams can be kind of a little bit intermixed. Bottom 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah, me and you, Rich, right here we're in the top half.
That's right. That's
just start mowing them down, baby. keeping it easy.
Yeah, but we'll either look great or look ridiculous come April.